The Samson Option happens to be the title of a book by the Jewish-American journalist Seymour Hersh, who's won the Pulitzer Prize. He's a very good journalist. He's been called anti-Zionist. He certainly has been a critic of Israel. And believe it or not, just for those who might want to know it, Seymour Hersh wrote in the New Yorker right after the 9/11 terrorist attacks something that no one seems to have ever noticed except me for some reason. One of these odd little things he wrote in the New Yorker, that his sources in the FBI and in the intelligence community said that the material found in the cars of the hijackers, the alleged 911 hijackers parked at the airport, that it seemed as though that evidence, quote unquote, had been planted. Interesting, isn't that, folks? The material that made the hijackers look like the big bad Muslims appeared to have been planted. But that's just one thing that Seymour Hersh has written, many, many things. But as I say, his book, The Samson Option, which oddly enough I just happen to be looking at today, in fact it's in my briefcase right now, is a book about, and it was the first book about, Israel's long secret nuclear weapons program.
And let's bring you some breaking news coming into us from the Reuters news agency, and that is that the Israeli Air Force has conducted a strike in Iran on Thursday. And we're also hearing from Iran's state-run news agency that explosions have been heard northeast of Tehran.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons. In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atom bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran is taking steps that it has never taken before, steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival. 80 years ago, the Jewish people were the victims of a Holocaust perpetrated by the Nazi regime. Today, the Jewish state refuses to be a victim of a nuclear holocaust perpetrated by the Iranian regime. Now, as Prime Minister, I've made it clear time and again, Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal. Tonight, Israel backs those words with action. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear enrichment program. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weaponization program. We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb. We also struck at the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program. Last year, Iran fired 300 ballistic missiles at Israel. Each of these missiles carries a ton of explosive and threatens the lives of hundreds of people. Soon, those missiles could carry a nuclear payload, threatening the lives not of hundreds, but of millions. Iran is gearing up to produce 10,000 of those ballistic missiles within 3 years. Now just imagine 10,000 tons of TNT landing on a country the size of New Jersey. This is an intolerable threat. It too must be stopped. Iran is now working on what it calls the new plan to destroy Israel. You see, the old plan failed. Iran and its proxies tried to encircle Israel with a ring of fire, to attack us with the horrible attack of October 7th. But the people of Israel, the soldiers of Israel, rose like lions to defend our country. We crushed Hamas, we devastated Hezbollah, we hit Iranian proxies in Syria and Yemen. And when Iran directly attacked us twice last year, we struck back inside Iran itself. Yet in defending ourselves, we also defend others. We defend our Arab neighbors. They too have suffered from Iran's campaign of chaos and carnage. Our actions against Iran's proxy Hezbollah led to the establishment of a new government in Lebanon and the collapse of Assad's murderous regime in Syria. The peoples of those two countries now have a chance for a different future, a better future. So too do the brave people of Iran, and I have a message for them. Our fight is not with you. Our fight is with the brutal dictatorship that has oppressed you for 46 years. I believe that the day of your liberation is near. When that happens, the great friendship between our two ancient peoples will flourish once again. I want to assure the civilized world, we will not let the world's most dangerous regime get the world's most dangerous weapons. And Iran plans to give those weapons, nuclear weapons, to its terrorist proxies. That would make the nightmare of nuclear terrorism all too real. The increasing range of Iran's ballistic missiles would bring that nuclear nightmare to the cities of Europe and eventually to America. Nearly a century ago, facing the Nazis, a generation of leaders failed to act in time. They were paralyzed by the horrors of World War I. They were determined to avoid war at all costs, and they got the worst war ever. They adopted a policy of appeasement. They closed their eyes and ears to all the warning signs. That failure to act resulted in World War II, the deadliest war in history. It claimed the lives of 60 million, including 6 million Jews, a third of my people. After that war, the Jewish people and the Jewish state vowed never again. Never again. Never again. Never again. Never again. Never again.
Going to exercise the Samson option and blow up the world? Here we are at the site of the 9/11 false flag. The 9/11 false flag that is rightfully blamed on Israeli Mossad and traitors in the US government and intelligence services and military. The 9/11 false flag in which Israelis were arrested on the day with explosives in their vans. The Israelis who were dancing, celebrating, filming the event because they had foreknowledge and admitted to it on Israeli television. The idea that Iran is the threat when we absolutely know for a fact these things that are in the public domain mocks the American people. This country is still controlled by the enemy inside the gate. Absolutely no question about it. And until we deal with the enemy inside the gate, the Jewish supremacist that runs this country and mocks the American people by having people like Netanyahu come and speak to the Congress 3 times and get 29 standing ovations in one go. It mocks the American people who send their American sons and daughters off to fight Israeli wars so that Israel can expand. Iran is not the threat. It is Israel who has 200 to 400 nuclear weapons, who now has the ability to deliver those nuclear weapons at any point in the world due to the Dolphin-class submarines supplied to them by Germany. It is not Iran who's been fighting wars all over the place. It is Israel and America that are the big threats here. And it will be American sons and daughters once again who are going to be used as cannon fodder to the tune of 22 American service members a day committing suicide because they're being sent off to fight illegal, immoral, unjust wars for Israel to expand. Is Israel